Hey guys, welcome to the DNA Show, your friendly neighborhood podcast. And no, that is not a reference to Spider Man. I have my best buddy and co creator Anirudh me in the studio today. So, Anu, what's up? How are you today?
Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the DNA show. So, in our earlier episodes about motorbikes, we talked about safety and we committed that we'll do a complete episode on safety. And here is the time to deliver it. So, yeah, I'm pumped. Dave, what are your thoughts? Let's begin.
Oh, I'm super pumped on this. How do you want to start this, Anu?
Well, to begin with this episode, I just want to talk about safety in general. What does safety mean? Now, there could be multiple meanings when it comes to safety, but we are going to try and focus on road safety, motorbikes. But I really want to go back to the question of safety. When did you know about safety, Dave? Like, what was your introduction to road safety?
Yeah, so as our listeners have already heard of this and you already know, uh, for me, road safety began the day I sat on the motorcycle for the first time. Uh, as I've always said, for me, safety is not about uh, just keeping myself safe, but more importantly, protecting myself from all the stupids out there. And I very blatantly put it, stupids. It's just a given, right? And I pakka believe that safety should start with self awareness. You should be aware of your surroundings. You should be aware of the chaotic conditions on Indian roads, and at the same time, balance it by concentrating on your riding and probably everything that goes around with it. There are very basic issues, right? You're riding on a plain good road and suddenly a pedestrian jumps on the street. What are you going to do?
Panic breaking.
Exactly. And that panic breaking is not always right. I mean, we have children playing cricket on Indian streets every day. Suddenly a ball hits you. What are you going to do? You should be aware of it. So in your peripheral vision, you should be aware of what's happening and basically proactively judge a upcoming situation.
You
Because
basically need to be ready for anything out.
yeah, absolutely, that's as simple as me. Safety, road safety for me. Now, to be honest, safety does not mean just riding safely, but it means protecting yourself from everything happening around you. Indian roads are crowded, they're full of idiots. It's been documented by a Seat ad some years back, which had a very clear tagline: the roads are filled with idiots.
I
Protect
second that.
yourself. So, it is of utmost importance to be conscious of what's happening around you. Hear a lot of people say we try to be as conscious on the road because we don't want to pay fines. Now, for me, that's a very small part of the larger problem. Fines, you will get away with them most of the time, even after all the security apparatus around us. But you will get away with them. If you break signals, in Indian roads, mostly you will not be paying any fines. But if you break a signal, there will be an idiot who would have copied you and is again breaking a signal. So don't be part of the problem. Don't be the idiot on the street. Try to protect yourself. And what are you trying to achieve by breaking a signal or jumping a signal? I mean, you're saving time.
Time. It's where more people go wrong. In order to save time, you end up speeding. You take the wrong lane. You become impatient to save that few minutes. And to be honest, we all do it. There are times when a person will wear a helmet for going to a local shop. There are times he feels it's not important to wear one. This is a mentality issue, and the only way we can correct it is by deep rooting safety into our daily lives.
Yeah.
This mentality of chalega is the main problem. And we have seen people traveling in public transport like trains, buses, and shared rickshaws. Think of it. When you look at the local trains, people are dangerously hanging out there. The buses are overcrowded. The rickshaws, have you seen the share rickshaws in the station?
Not don't even get me started on it.
Yeah, there are like five people cramped up there into that small space along with the rider. And you know what? We kind of take our life for granted. And you know, it all this is for what? Just getting on work to time.
Yeah, just say 5 minutes.
Or maybe meeting your girlfriend on
Yeah,
time.
who is already late?
Or maybe for a client visit, right?
Yeah.
I think it's deep rooted and we need to fix the core issue. And it can only be done through education. Tell me, Dev, have you ever had a fire safety or a CPR training in school? I mean, it's kind of off topic, but I just want to, you know, comment out there to the listeners.
See, honestly, I don't remember about fire safety or CPR training in school, and that's why I will say probably not. But you know what? Schools remind me of this particular topic, which is pretty much related to our podcast today, is riding schools. Surprisingly, the biggest two-wheeler market in this world does not have a concept of training people in operating two-wheelers. I mean, does that sound shocking to you?
Oh, definitely.
So that makes the thought of road safety even more critical. Another fun fact that I heard recently regarding road safety, especially in metro cities like Mumbai and Delhi, there is this new concept of weekend riders or weekend drivers, which what basically means is most of the people who own cars or bikes in Mumbai and Delhi will not drive or ride them in on the weekdays.
Oh, so basically they're just commuting daily to work and then
Yeah, they
moving
use
out.
public transport on day-to-day basis. On the weekend, because they have a vehicle and their family is probably pestering them and they need to maintain their vehicle, they need to show it off. So they will bring these vehicles on the streets. Now imagine a person who rides once in 7 days. What is the condition of his vehicle? Imagine what is his own skill. And why I say that is probably a person who does not drive or ride every day has a very lower understanding of the roads and the idiots around them. And that makes it even more alarming for daily riders or for regular riders or drivers to keep themselves safe. How would you feel if a family member of yours is traveling next to one of these vehicles, which is not well maintained? That driver will may or may not be able to brake. That person is not aware of how to use the roads to the best of his capabilities. And tell me, Anu, how would you feel if you're a family member sharing the road space with that sort of a person?
Well, Dev, it's kind of a paradox situation, right? We as an Indians have a population of 140 crores.
Yeah,
And I think at least 40 crores out there must know how to drive or ride.
you're considering a very high
Large
number. I'm
scale.
saying it's a very very negligible number who follow the
But
RTO rules.
yeah, let's take it down to 10 crores. Okay.
Yeah, probably that sounds like a more logical number to me.
Yeah, and out of these 10 crores, when we come to riding, right? Who do you think have taught them to ride or drive?
Most of them are self-taught. Some fortunate like me are at least taught by someone who had some knowledge of uh, riding, some knowledge of the road, but most of them are completely illiterate when it comes to road optimization. And why I use the word road optimization is because that's how a road is supposed to be used with a vehicle. You need to understand that the Indian law clearly states that it's a pedestrian first law.
That's a good
Whichever
point.
vehicle you own, the pedestrian has to be respected. And the pedestrian needs to understand that what they're dealing with is not made of rubber or foam, it's made of hard metal. If it hits you, it's going to hurt you.
I get
Most
that.
people feel their hand has the capability of stopping anything in this world. As if
As
they
you
have.
cross the road, you just want
Yeah,
to show
you
the
see
hand.
on Indian streets, you see them waving hands to the cars, right? As if they are some sort of superhero where they can control the metals around them. One more thing that I want to point out is there are only handful of riding schools in India, unlike driving schools which are there everywhere. I don't know how useful they are. I've never used them. But riding schools are only for a very sophisticated form of riding in India, and more importantly for very passionate riders, because what I have come across in India is probably two types of riding schools. One are track riding schools, and other are basically off-roading schools.
Yep.
uh, at least I am not aware if there are any schools that teach basic road riding or any schools that teach commuting. uh, I am very surprised to understand that there are no riding schools in a biker market like India. But we have always spoken about going to one of these track riding schools or off-roading schools, right?
Yep.
And I'm aware that you have done a lot of research on this in the last several years. You want to just shed some light on how it works for our listeners? And adding to it, once we discuss this topic, we will be adding names of some riding schools and their descriptions, and how
I
some.
have a few in my
Yeah,
mind
so
I
we'll
can
add
talk
that
about.
in our podcast bio so that people can explore it and understand it. But for now, I want you to put some light on the riding schools in India.
Before I do that, actually, I do want to talk about one aspect that we kind of missed out. Uh, you procure your driving license from an RTO.
You seriously want to go down that route?
Yeah, I mean, think of it.
Do you want this podcast to get banned?
No, I mean, it's a reality, right? When you go for the driving test,
Nobody wants reality, my friend.
we do. That's why you
In
guys
this
are open.
environment, do you seriously want to go to the route? I'm giving you second chance.
No, I mean, I just had to put this point out that
Yeah, yeah, please, please.
when you go for your driving test, I mean, it's been more than 15 years that I went for one. Things have changed a lot. And what I've realized is there is like a whole book of safety manuals, like where it shows you the road signs. I am pretty sure 3 out of 10 people would know what the road sign is.
Do the cops know them?
I'm not sure.
Exactly my point. And that's why I don't want to go this route, because I have extremely funny and very controversial stories on this, which I will resist as of now,
Ah,
because it's not something that I'm proud of, especially being a citizen of this country. But I have off lately heard from people that the situation is much, much better.
okay.
Uh, Driving licenses are now being given on a logical ground with better testing. Uh, at least I believe there are some written exams that are taken at least in
Is it?
Maharashtra now. Yeah.
Wow.
So the conditions have improved a lot from the times that we took our driving licenses. And what surprises me the most is driving licenses last for like what, 20 years?
18, if I'm not wrong. Sorry, 15, I guess.
Yeah, 15, 20 years. And
Again, guys, we are just having a conversation, so the facts might
yeah,
be.
please don't quote us anywhere. These are unauthorized facts. These are not even facts. This is just a conversation between two friends. Please
Yes.
remember that. Yeah. So, Anu, do you want to go back to the riding schools?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
please.
So, being a passionate person about motorbikes, I learned riding when I was 12 by myself. So, what I used to do was, I used to get the keys to clean the vehicle, the bike, and then I started riding it. Somehow managed to learn how to do it by myself. But back then, I was a kid, literally a kid. And, thinking of it now, right, there were so many safety protocols that I should have taken. And, I'm sure there are many people out there who have missed this. When I go and think about it, in the recent years, right, we have this opportunity of riding schools, like there's California Superbike School, First Gear, Apex Racing
Yeah,
Academy, to
yeah.
name a few.
I've heard of all of them. Yes.
Yeah. And, there are the other class of riding schools, which are the off-roading schools. Now, I've personally not yet, taken any of these schools, but I definitely want to. That's something I wish to do. I mean, what it does is it enhances you as a person. You can learn to corner on a track. You can learn off-roading dirt riding skills. And what these skills, what these schools do is it gives you a perspective on how to master the technicality of riding, which eventually makes you a better person on the road.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure of that.
Yep. And I definitely want to attend this. And If in case I will, I'll definitely do a podcast on it.
Yeah, we will probably do a podcast from the track itself.
Yep. And we will definitely put links to the website, and when you go to the website you will realize that you know there is a huge list of safety apparels that you need to carry.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I really love about this riding schools, right? They will ensure that you have the right kind of safety equipment. And you think that it's expensive, you can rent it out. Now that's the beauty of it. With the Indian market booming, right, we are a global economy, and there are multiple avenues of procuring riding gears and safety gears.
Yes.
But again, riding schools and off-roading schools are something that is a point C, right? So if I have to go back, point A is where you learn to balance yourself on a two-wheeler. Point B is when you understand the technicality of riding, and point C is where you enhance it. And not many people are fortunate to kind of go there. So what I feel is having a helmet, right, is something that we have, because your head is the controller of your body.
Yeah, please understand, it is one of the most critical organs of your body.
Yep.
You can't survive without a head. It's not like you lose a limb and you live.
Yep.
You you
That's more painful though.
Yeah, it's just very common, right? I hope our listeners now understand why safety is so critical,
Yep.
and hence a very basic helmet and using the two most simple apparatus on your bike, which is the rear view mirrors. Yeah.
Oh, you've seen these guys, right?
Yes, I have.
I
I
wanted
know.
to
I
talk
know where
about
you're going.
this.
I know where you're going.
I
The
mean, these guys, I've seen them, especially in scooters. I think when uh, I was growing up and we had the Pulsar
Yeah.
220 era, we had Bantai Bachis on the Pulsar
Yeah.
220s, and now it's moved on to scooters. Have you seen how they place their mirrors?
Yeah. It's basically used as a reflector.
Yeah, it's like a bunny
I know
ear
someone.
or someone.
I know someone who used to use his rear view mirrors as a reflector because his headlight was not working. So he used to
Wow.
use his rear view mirrors as reflectors turned completely opposite way.
Wow.
And his logic was, जब सामने वाले की गाड़ी की हेडलाइट लगेगी इस पे तो लाइट बाउंस बैक करेगी, मेरा हेडलाइट का काम हो जाएगा. I mean,
Are
that
you
is the thought
serious?
process that people have. I am not kidding. This is a real experience. I'm not making it up.
Guys, there is a
Please don't try
reason.
it at home
There
or
is a
anywhere else.
reason where, why you call it side mirrors, because it's supposed to show you the side
Yeah, rear view. Very
rear
simple.
view.
It's in the name. Use it. It wouldn't
Exactly.
cost you anything more. It's a proper analog device. Does not need charging. You have to just, it's on your bike already. You have to just use it.
Just adjust it and use it.
Yeah.
I think I want to go back to your first statement when you said about learning your ride, right? In the earlier podcast, you mentioned about how you started. So, what was the gear that you had that time?
So, when I started riding, it was typically with a helmet. That's it. Because I was not going beyond city limits, and a helmet was suffice. During those days when it was much less crowded, much less chaotic. But when I started doing longer rides, I started using a very basic synthetic padded pair of gloves, which back then used to cost about 700 bucks. Today they might cost anywhere between 1200 to 2000 bucks.
I want to add something to when you talked about gloves, right?
Yeah.
In today's market, you find gloves which are basically starting for 1500 and it goes all the way to 15,000. I was in labs the other day,
Yeah.
and I saw this glove. I asked the rate and he was like, "Sir, it's 15,000."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Why 15,000?" So, you know what he told me? It's made out of kangaroo leather.
Oh man.
And I'm like, "Why are
It
we
adds 50 bhps to your bike.
I was like, why are you killing a kangaroo to make a glove?"
Exactly. Now the
So
kangaroo needs a security safety gear.
apparently it's more flexible, is what he said.
Uh,
I
See, honestly, I believe these are frills to everything, right? I
Yeah.
mean, these are like going a little overboard. Unless you really have a very very strong machine like a probably a GSA 1250 or a multi Strada V4S, and you have truckloads of money, it does not make sense. Invest in basic quality all weather gear and you will be able to go anywhere.
Yep.
There
Mesh
is
is best for our
mesh
climate.
is mesh is good, Gore-Tex is good, synthetics are good. They do the job. See, what you expect from a glove is to protect your palms and knuckles.
Yep.
It's a human tendency, when you crash you land on your palm.
Your
And that,
hands down
yeah,
first.
yeah, hands down, you land on your palm, and the first thing that hits your palms are the stones or the pebbles or the mud around.
Yep.
It can cause serious damage. Out of experience, it can cause serious damage. So very basic hand gloves will do the job.
Okay.
And again, safety gear is very very task oriented. A commuting safety gear will not work in off-roading, and off-roading safety gear will not work on a track
Yeah.
will not work on commuting.
You got to plan it right,
Yeah,
basically.
you have to have the task focused material. It's not about investing in a 15,000 kangaroo leather glove if you're going to go off-roading.
Yep. Yeah,
It's
you
going to
need
get
the
messed
hard
up.
ones
It's
when
going
you're
to
going
get
off.
seriously messed up. So again, coming back to my gear, when I upgraded to Ducati, I completely leveled up my safety gear game for obvious reasons, because it's a much powerful bike. uh,
Higher speeds.
yeah, I was doing higher speeds, I was doing riskier rides, I was doing off-roading, so I had to pick and choose my gear correctly. I totally believe, and we have had this discussion earlier, that powerful bikes call for a very sophisticated safety gear.
Yep.
And my belief is, if your machine is doing insane speeds, please invest insane money in it, in protecting yourself.
So what kind of helmet do you use?
So currently, what I use is a complete full face carbon fiber C certified helmet. It's much lighter in weight, much stronger than ordinary helmets. Uh, because it is a full face, I am totally in favor of full face and completely against a half face. A half face helmet will save only half a face. It's in the name. The day you land up on your chin, you have lost it. You will need to go for a jaw restructuring surgery.
If you're alive, that is.
If you're alive, absolutely. Again, avoid flip open helmets, because again, it's based on a flip mechanism. If you crash at the wrong place, it might just open up and will work exactly like a half face helmet.
But I think, yeah, I mean, if you're going for a flip helmets, I think you need to go out for the best brands out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, flip helmets don't make sense, because when the flip tops are open, they work like boat sails.
Yeah.
They are not even boat sails. They work like basically aircraft brakes. They work against aerodynamics. They will slow you down by at least 10-15 kilometers.
I wouldn't say 10-15 kilometers, but yeah, if you're doing that kind of
Yeah.
speed, you definitely need.
Plus, it will constantly keep pushing your neck back,
Yep.
and beyond riding, you will be focusing on keeping your neck in the place.
And God forbid if you crash, I think
Oh, it's
it's
gone.
just gonna strangle you.
It's going to strangle you. It's going to be bad. I don't even want to go there. It's going to be bad. That's it. Now, coming back to my safety gear, uh, that was the helmet part. Beyond helmet, I had a proper mesh and a synthetic material, all weather AA rated riding jacket with armors for shoulders, elbows, back, and chest.
Okay.
Now, this is very, very sophisticated piece. I had invested around about upwards of 20,000 in this jacket. But I have done upwards of 40,000 kilometers in the jacket, so it has paid for itself.
Yep. And I think speaking of armors, there are definitely certain layer of armors.
Yeah.
And when you buy a jacket, to the listeners out there, right? When you buy a jacket, there will be very basic armors. Now, what you can do is you can upgrade these armors, and these armors are the new ones, right? They are very lightweight and extremely strong. So ensure that when you're buying a jacket, look at the rating of the armor. There is level 1, level 2, and level 3.
Yeah. So, in addition to level 1, level 2, level 3, there are also ratings like CE rating
Dot.
or a ISI rating or a DOT rating. So, to just make it simple, C is the European standards, which is the certification of Europe. DOT is Department of Transport America, and ISI is
Indian.
India's Indian standards. So, these are three accepted ones in India. There has been some chaos around CE and DOT in India. There have been cases where people have been fined for not using an ISI marked helmet, which is very funny because I have studied all these three ratings, and ISI ratings don't even compare to DOT and CE,
Imagine buying a 70,000 helmet and
and paying a 2000 rupee fine for not buying an ISI helmet.
seriously.
So, yeah, it's very funny, but that's how it is. Make your own choice. We are not advising on any particular brand, any particular thing. Think for yourself, choose rightly. Uh, then again, coming back to the safety gear, I also have a pair of riding boots which are totally waterproof, all weather. Uh, and the reason for buying them was basically to protect my ankles.
Yep.
If you crash, after your hands, probably the second most fragile or vulnerable thing are your ankles.
So, there is something that I want to call out.
Yeah, yeah, please.
A lot of people think just a helmet and glove is enough. But the first thing that you damage is actually your feet, your ankles. And the reason is when you're taking a fall, right? You want to balance yourself,
Correct. You are trying to find something to grip onto,
something to
something to
grip
hold
on.
on to.
And that's when you kind of be in the middle of the road and the bike.
Correct.
And that is like a thing that you can't even walk after that. So invest in a good riding boots. It's recommended. I think gloves could be a third thing that you could buy, but since they're cheap, I think just get the three basic things.
So I will tell you why I put gloves over boots is purely from a practicality sense of point.
Okay.
Practically, you can't walk around in riding boots for a long time.
Hmm.
So to keep in mind, if you are going out with your girlfriend to watch a movie, you can't wear riding boots. You will not be comfortable walking, and she will feel as if she is going out with a alien.
Maniac.
Yeah, I mean, they are not very comfortable for walking in easy terms. They are good for riding. They will protect you, but they will make you feel awkward, and you will feel the pain at the end of the day. And that's why gloves are very handy. You can put it in your bag, you can put it in your underseat, you can take care of them.
Yep.
But shoes become a less complicated. This is also a shout out to the riding gear manufacturers that please start focusing on fashionable riding boots that can be used in daily trend, and they can pull a leaf out of the riding pants market, which has really gone trendy.
Yeah. You get the riding denims these times,
Yeah,
right?
so I was coming on to them. Riding pants. Again, I own a super pair of riding pants, AAA rated again. Protects the thighs, protects the knees, protects a large part of the shin, protects the sides. So does the job well. Is very comfortable. You need riding pants which are comfortable first,
Yep.
and this basically applies to all the other riding gears also. Comfort is first. It might be the best gear out there. It might be the most safest one, but if it's not comfortable, it's not going to help. I love the Alpine Stars riding suit, but I can't fit into them.
Yes.
And if I probably chain them up, I will be breathing far lesser. So it makes no sense, right? I
Yep.
might be able to own them, but I might not be able to wear them comfortably. And again, as I said, riding suits are for tracks. You can't use them for commuting.
Yeah, because they're primarily made of leather.
Yeah,
And
they are made of leather, and there is no space to breathe.
yep.
So yeah, that was about the riding gear that I own. Now I invested in all of these because I frequently ride outside the city and doing obviously higher speeds on regular basis. But I suggest our listeners who ride regularly must upgrade to decent helmets and gloves and at least a pair of knee guards if not riding pants.
Hmm. Well, to add to it, you also get these jackets nowadays, which are like armor jackets, which are very lightweight, made of
Yeah,
mesh.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
think it'll do a basic job if you're commuting. So I know it's kind of cumbersome, but if you are riding and if you really care for yourself, I think you should get one.
Yeah, all those scooters riders, they have, I think, good 4 feet under their seat. They can store everything, right?
Yep.
So just wear a jacket, fold it, put it in that trunk of yours. It's basically a moving trunk, right?
Yep.
It's nothing like a vehicle. It looks ugly. It is chaotic. So rather use it like a trunk. Put it in there. It's easy. Again, we spoke about C, DOT, and ISI rating standards for riding gear. We are not going too much deep into it because it's too technical and we are not authorized or experts
Yeah, we're
in this
just
field.
telling out
We
what
are
we
just telling
have
out our experience. So,
experiences.
uh,
Exactly.
in the show notes or the podcast description, we will put in more details of CEDOT and ISI ratings. People interested in it can go visit those sites, read more about
I think
them.
you can just YouTube it. There are
Yeah,
multiple
yeah,
channels
we
like
will. Yeah, yeah,
Fortnite
they
and
can do that,
stuff.
but we will also do our bit for that.
Yep, yep.
Now again, helmets. If you want to buy in a metro city, you will find a very you can find very easily find a ISI rated helmet for less than 5k from brands like Exhaust, Steelbird, Vega, or similar brands. Please bear in mind there are many more brands you can explore, and we aren't recommending anything specific in this podcast since we aren't experts or affiliate in this field. We are simply sharing our experience. For folks in Mumbai, there are several stores like Lazy As Biker or the Bike Merchant and many more out there selling top of the line riding gear. You should physically drop into these stores, try out the product, then buy the gear so that you're sure that the gear fits you exactly how it is supposed to. Anu, I have never bought a riding gear online. Have you tried one? And adding on to that, how do you, what is the process of buying a riding gear for you? For example, a helmet. How would you research and what are the key things that you look at while buying a helmet?
Well, to begin with, let's start with the helmet. When I first started riding, I was always jazzed about MotoGP, right? And I used to look at all these fancy helmets that they have.
Very high standards, bro.
Very high standards, but I did not know that back then.
Yeah.
For me, it was the design. I
Yeah.
was like, wow, this guy has a cool helmet. Wow, I want one.
Didn't you feel stupid while riding with them on the Indian streets?
I was stupid back then.
Yeah. Yeah, you were 12 years
I
old.
mean, yeah, I was what, 13, 14,
Yeah.
whatever. So early teens, and then,
Yeah.
creative side of me wanted some, swanky design.
Correct.
So, when I got my first helmet, it was a Rossi edition helmet, 46,
Wow. Doctor.
the doctor. And yes, a lot of chapris out there have the doctor symbol. I'm sure they do not even know who he is.
And he's not a doctor.
He's a legend.
Yeah. But
So,
still not a doctor.
still not a doctor. So yeah, I mean, I got the doctor helmet, and when I started riding fast, I realized that it was weaving all around, and I was like, "Why is this happening?" And then I realized, "Oh shit, this was a stupid mistake. I shouldn't have bought this." So I mean, coming out of my experience,
But what was the mistake, if I may ask?
so it was loose.
So the fitting was
The
not right.
fitting was not right, and I think it was I don't know the name of the brand, but the padding was really thin. So, I
Yeah,
never felt
this is
safe.
20 years old right now. It's a 20-year-old story.
Yes. Getting a Rossi edition helmet back then was like a big thing.
Yeah, I mean it was just a shell. I
Yeah,
mean,
it was a shell
yeah.
with a tinted glass.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Again,
So
a no. I am sure you will talk about it.
yeah, I do want to cover that up.
Yeah.
So
Please, let's start.
yeah, so when you're riding, when you're buying a helmet, as you already mentioned, do not buy online unless and until you're very sure of what you want and you've tested it out. There are two basic rules on buying a helmet. First is, you have to have a tight fit. It has to be really tight on your cheeks. Okay. And when you, nod your head, the helmet should move with your head and not against it. So you
Yeah.
shouldn't feel wobbly. Your head shouldn't feel wobbly. That's first. Second is the two finger rule. Uh, don't even think of where we are going there. I mean, it's basically that what you do is take two fingers, put it underneath your chin, and there shouldn't be more gap. I mean, one of your fingers should
Yeah.
touch the helmet, one of it should touch your chin. So that's something that you should be mindful of. When it comes to the visors, right? Now you get multiple glossy visors which have like a dark tint.
Yeah,
And I wouldn't recommend that. Okay, if you are riding throughout the day, wear a sunglasses. You also get helmets that have a sunglasses inbuilt.
I agree. Yeah, yeah,
And if you still want to buy a one which is a darker tint, I would also suggest buy a transparent one and learn how to change it on the go.
yeah, yeah.
Because a lot of
And
professional
it's not
people,
very difficult.
it's not very difficult, right? So I think these are the three things that you can keep in mind.
Yeah, sure.
Ensure that it's a good quality helmet. Personally, for the last 10 years, I've been using an LS2
Hmm, hmm.
because I feel it's economical. At the same time, it is DOT and ISI certified.
Yeah, I think LS2 is a Spanish brand. Their helmets are manufactured in Thailand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also are into MotoGP. I mean, if you want to buy a really expensive LS2, you can get one for, I guess,
About
the
60,000.
60,
About 60,000,
70,000.
which is their LS2 carbon fiber.
Yeah. And just to give the listeners out there, a good helmet can start anywhere between 2 to 3K and it can go up to 3 lakhs.
Yeah, it's a large market. Again, not many, but few riders in the even in India are willing to put that sort of money, because it's not just about protecting yourself, but it's also about a fashion statement, right? People, I have seen people flaunt their
Oh yeah, yeah.
helmets.
You were with the Ducati
Yeah,
group,
yeah.
so
I
the rich
have, I
guys.
have, I have seen those rich guys. I met a British gentleman who was wearing a BMW Bluetooth enabled helmet,
Wow.
which basically had intercoms and it was state of art. He had paid in UK, he had paid a few thousand pounds for them, but he was carelessly using them. He was very often keeping them on the ground, or keeping them on
Keeping
the
them.
ground is not a problem.
Yeah, I think it's a safer
It's a
way to
safer
keep them.
point,
Yeah.
but he was very not very careful with them. If I invest a few thousand pounds in a product, I would wear it on my body 24 hours.
Like the Instagram bikers.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think very good point that you made. Helmets do definitely come with an expiry date, and the moment you crash with your helmet, or if your helmet
It's
is,
gone.
it's gone. Yeah,
One drop.
one drop. What eventually happens is you get these cracks, which are microscopic cracks, and God forbid if you meet with an accident that crashes, that crack is enough to break open an helmet.
Yeah, it's a weaker point.
Yep. And uh, you know apart from keeping your helmets in a good condition, I would also recommend to clean it, because being in the humid atmosphere that we are in, it is important to ensure that you are comfortable with it. And washing your helmet is a good thing to do. So you get these inner liners that
Yeah,
are
you just
removable.
remove them and put them in a
Yep,
washing
yep,
machine, or just put them in a bucket of water, leave it for some time, pick it up, dry it out.
yep,
See, it's very basic, right? It's sitting on your head for few hours a day. You are sweating profusely in
yep.
the traffic. There's a lot of dirt and dust on the road that's getting into them.
I also had a point
Yeah,
to the helmet thing. uh, it's important that you pick a lighter shaded helmet. And here's why. Most of the fancy helmets will be in some black color with
yeah,
some
yeah.
skull or something on it.
Oh, have you seen those Mohawk helmets,
Yeah.
which have those mohawks on top of the
Yes,
helmet?
yes. Yes, I've seen that. And the reason why I say a lighter helmet is because the lighter shade, it reflects the sunlight.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're kind of cool in your
Inside,
head,
yeah,
at least like a degree or two.
yeah, yeah.
You also get these helmets with the vents.
Hmm.
It's a very good feature to have, especially in the Indian conditions, where you open a vent and there is some bit of airflow.
Air
So
coming in, yeah.
it keeps your head cool at the end of the day. And apart from these helmets, when it comes to riding gear, so I personally have a Komine set. Komine is a Japanese brand,
Okay,
and I heard of it first time when I was in Lazy Ass Bikers. And what I wanted was something that fits me right.
correct.
And that's where many people, they just buy this jackets online thinking that it's a cheap one,
Yeah, yeah.
but it is the utmost important to ensure that you try the fit of the jacket
Correct.
and the pant.
Correct.
And the reason why I'm saying this is because there are chances that the jacket might be loose. The elbow pad might not be on your elbow
Yeah, it
because
has to be on your elbow.
yes,
Your shoulder pads have to be on your shoulder. If they are
exactly.
even an inch below your shoulders, it's going to damage more than protecting.
Yep. The same goes with the riding pants. I
Yeah.
mean, you have to be completely comfortable with the riding pants. Move with the riding pants. See how your legs are functioning. Are you able to stretch your legs? Is the knee guard at the place at all times? Because when you sit, what happens is that your knee guards can go off either up or down.
These days, what I saw this one piece, which was basically a denim riding pant with inbuilt protector, a protective armor. It it was trendy. And I had one of these fellow Ducati riders who used to use them regularly for work. He used to wear them throughout the day.
Wow,
They were very fashionable. They were very trendy. They were very comfortable. They were very soft on body. Uh, and it's basically denim with protective gear.
that's
How,
good.
yeah, amazing thing here. I think I want to give a shout out to one company which is doing really good stuff in making their riding gear better and better is TVS.
TVS.
So I don't know whether our listeners have heard, but TVS has a racing arm
Yep.
which has been functional for more than 30 years now. And
Yeah.
this arm makes riding gears under
Okay.
the brand TVS Racing.
Wow.
And some very, very good quality riding gear. Not very expensive. They are not cheap, but not very expensive. Uh, does the job. And because they're an Indian brand, they understand the Indian sizes, they understand the Indian designs, they understand the Indian climate. Now, what I wanted to point out was a lot of these international brands,
Yep.
they have European sizes and American sizes.
Yeah. They forget about the belly, the big
Yeah,
fat
they forget
Indian
about the
belly.
Indian fat. Our food is very different from their food.
Yep.
So our bodies are very different. Hence, there are higher chances of finding better gear in Indian brands.
That's
And
something that I need to explore.
yeah, I suggest you and the listeners to go and explore the Indian market. It's good. It's not that bad.
That's good.
Yeah, please carry on.
Yeah. So I was talking about riding pants. Yeah.
Yeah.
So riding pants, apart from the fit and finish, you also need to ensure that they are breathable.
Yeah.
They do come with again armors that can be replaced. So think about that. And going back to the riding boots, I think I spent around 20K on my riding boots.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, I tried the cheaper ones, to be
Don't
honest,
do the
like
job.
10K,
Yeah. Yeah.
5K and stuff. But it was like I was walking with the stone. And so, yeah, I mean, you need to have some room in the riding boots for your feet to kind of be
Yeah.
stable.
You see, any riding gear except for the helmet needs to have some wiggle room
Yep.
because you're constantly sitting in one place. If you don't move your uh, fingers, legs inside the riding gear, it might become a little stiff. You might get cramps. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, please.
when you say stiff, also up to point out, when you are buying a basic piece of safety apparel, it will be stiff for the first period of say 10-15 hours
Yeah,
of locking.
like any new thing.
Yeah, any new thing. So eventually it will take the shape of your body. And if it will ensure that when you're buying it, it has to be tight, and tight enough that you are a bit of there is some bit of comfort that is missing, but
Mm,
eventually you will
mm,
break into that.
yeah.
And once you do, you realize the fit is perfect.
Hmm,
i
hmm.
i also wanted to just when I was thinking about the fit and the helmet, right? A lot of people I've seen doing motor vlogging. Although
Yeah.
it's good for content, but think of it, you are placing a camera on your helmet, on the side of it, on top of it. You look like an alien already. And it's basically something that you should not do. And the reason for it is when you are carrying speeds up above 100, or even above 70 for that matters, you are playing with the aerodynamics of the helmet.
Yeah.
And especially for the folks who, side mount the cameras, your head will sway one side. That can cause your neck and shoulders to pain. Eventually fatigue will hit you very early stage of your riding. So if you're placing a camera, place it on your bike. I would suggest not to place a camera because you are then more involved on what you're capturing. I think you had a GoPro. I think I
Yeah.
want to hear your experience.
Uh, Outrightly saying, very stupid idea. Don't even try it. It's not worth trying. It's an expensive investment. Uh, so I invested in a GoPro when I bought the Ducati because I was excited to collect the riding footage. Also, I was planning for Ladakh, so I wanted to capture the beautiful landscape. But an honest confession here, I have never visited the footage even till date.
I want to see it now.
Processing the raw content, and making it into a movie is a different level of pain. And I am happy to share the footage with anyone on this podcast who is willing to help me sort that mess out. It's really a messy. It's like, see, this is how I put it. I have almost 200 GBs of content on my GoPro.
Wow.
I have never watched it. I have lived it. I have the memory of it. I don't need to watch it again.
And I think I agree to it. When you are, riding, uh, just absorb the nature.
Yeah,
Don't try and take a selfie. I mean, you can definitely, no one's stopping you, but live that moment. Don't be more focused on capturing that moment, because a YouTube video is nothing like when you actually are in parts of like Leh Ladakh.
correct.
So, you know, I,
There are
I
hundreds of videos already up there.
yes, and nothing
Your
can
new video
match
is
the
not going to
reality.
change anything.
Nothing can match the real thing.
Yes, it's more important to make your own memories rather than building memories for somebody else and to revisit them future. Your brain is very well capable of revisiting its own memories.
Yep.
Please do that. So let me come back again to the camera mounts, right?
Yeah.
And have very practical problems. They don't travel well.
So you've experienced that.
Yes, they don't travel well. You only have three places on the helmet where you can put a mount, either on top of your helmet, or the chin of your helmet, or the side of your helmet. And all three positions have their own discomforts and no positives. Mount it anywhere on the helmet and it will start swaying your helmet the moment you cross 40 kmph.
Oh, okay.
Mounting it on top, which I have tried personally, is a very, very bad idea.
How do you control it? Like,
Ah,
how do you start recording or stop recording?
you have to manually push the GoPro button or you have to push it on the app. In any case, you will have to stop
Okay.
or you'll have to risk riding in with one hand and fidgeting on the GoPro or the app with the other hand.
And you're not even sure if it's recording.
Exactly. You're not sure if it's recording. You hear a very lame beep. Sometimes if the battery goes off, you're thinking you're capturing the most beautiful landscape. And you suddenly, when you reach your location, you realize battery to chala gaya, khatam ho gaya tha.
Basically, you're distracted off
Yeah, you're
road.
distracted. It's not the right thing. When I put it on my helmet, on the top of my helmet, I felt as if something was pulling me back. I had to put an extra effort on my neck to keep my head in place. And that is something that you do not want to do while riding. It just breaks the concentration and can be really risky. One critical aspect that not many people talk about is the mount itself. So, the mount is kept in place on the helmet with an adhesive strip.
Yep.
These adhesives are made of chemicals which are corrosive in nature.
Oh,
Anybody who understands basics physics, corrosion means
eating into the material.
it will eat into the material and basically create a weak point on the helmet.
So it works. Adhesive works on the fibers that's
Anything.
okay.
These are basically chemicals. So all these strips, right? I mean, like a two-sided tape. I've seen people put two-sided tape. The two-sided tapes are not made for fragile material.
You can basically lose your GoPro.
You can lose your GoPro.
It could hit someone.
That's the easiest thing that can happen. But in the longer run, you will screw up your helmet. The day it crashes, you will be shocked to see how that adhesive tape led to your demise. So it is corrosive and it will create a weak spot. So, humble request from probably your favorite podcasters, do not put any mounts on your helmet.
Optimistic.
Sorry?
Optimistic, I said.
Yeah, I am. I will be, obviously. See, we are giving them so much peace of our mind, right?
Yeah.
They have to like us. They should like us. They must like us.
Well, you should definitely visit the DNA India show Instagram page and comment on what they've just said.
So, moving on to what other things can you put on your helmet? Mounts, a clear no from my end. Something that I am very sure of, and I want to try this out, is intercoms.
Yep.
Very useful, very helpful, adds on to your experience, makes the ride much better. I'm sure, Anu, you have used some form of communication on your helmet. I've never tried it, but I've heard it helps. What's your thought?
So, I don't have an intercom per se. I always wanted one, but it's kind of expensive to get one. And what I stumbled across when I was looking for one is actually a Bluetooth device that fits into your helmet. Now, since I ride a 390 Adventure, it has two channel AB, Bluetooth.
Yeah, yeah,
And what I have done is connected that Bluetooth device inside my helmet. It has two speakers and one microphone, which can eventually help you to charge the device as well
yeah,
as
yeah.
use it as a microphone.
Yes.
And I've connected that to my bike. Now, what it does basically is when I'm riding, it gives me the option of, connecting with the people that I love with. Now, think about it, right? You're riding alone, say, you're going on a road trip which is 500 kilometers, and receiving a phone call that time is a pain. You need to stop and look who it is. Most of the time, these are spam calls. So yeah, you kind of kill your riding experience there.
Correct.
And what this device does is, so since I can see the number who's calling in from, I can decide whether I want to take the call or not.
Correct.
And again, I don't mean like lengthy conversations. A basic answering the phone that I've reached X destination and I'm still riding. I'll take an hour or so. So this is a good way to communicate with your family members. In case you plan to have one, you can get one for 1,500 or 2,000
Correct.
bucks.
Yes, they're not very expensive.
Yeah. And these kind of technologies is something that is evolving. You have these glasses, which is kind of Google glasses, which will show you maps. Again, this is a distraction when you're looking at a map and then looking at
Correct.
the road. So again, this Bluetooth device helps me because you're using a GPS, and what it does is
It gives you directions in your
it
ear.
gives you direction sound. So
Correct.
you're not looking at the screen, you're constantly on the road. You can just on a flick of a button answer or reject a call,
Correct.
and just move on with your riding. I think
Yeah, yeah.
ride is what is should be the most important thing in your mind, and this safely allows you to do that. So
Correct. Yes.
it's a good thing to have. And when I speak of technology, the new Ducati Multistrada V4, it has a beautiful piece of technology called lidar.
Yeah.
Basically, since the bike has a cruise control, it can detect if someone is coming from the rear, and it will give you a blink on your mirror like most of the cars do. And I think this technology is something which all Indian bikes or all bike manufacturers should have. And the reason for this is because when you're riding, your vision is ahead,
Yeah.
and a lot of times there is a blind spot.
Yeah, there are, and that's documented. There are blind spots on a bike.
Yep. So I think with safety, technology is a big part. You get these jackets that has airbags,
Yeah.
and I think I can just go on.
There are helmets
about-
that come with airbags.
yeah, to support your neck, right?
To support your neck, to protect your head, they will basically open up on impact so that your
Oh, okay.
head doesn't have a hard surface to impact. That's the whole objective. Now, see, new technologies will make the riding better and safer. But the new multi-strada V4 that you spoke about, which has these high-tech features, is priced at rupees 30 lakhs, and so a long way away from the reach of a common Indian rider.
Yep.
And that brings me basically back to the first point. So, when such technologies are so far, it is your own responsibility to keep yourself safe
Yep.
for at least another decade, because all these technologies coming into the mainstream will take a decade. And that's why this conversation is so important. Now, my closing thought here, Anu.
Yep.
We have already overshot our budgeted time, so I'm going for the closure here. Uh,
Sure.
Keep yourself safe so that you can ride more so that you can ride better, and then keep yourself safe.
Yep. What a
So
beautiful
the
thought.
only solution here is ride hard, ride more, keep yourself safe, and ride better. This seems to be like a logical point to end this conversation. Do DM us on Instagram if you need any help in finding good riding gear or have any feedback on our conversation today. We want you to be a part of this conversation as much as we are. So feel free to write in. And as always, like, share, and subscribe to the DNA show. Thank you. Bye. See you soon.
Thank you, guys.
And that was Dave and Anirudh, your hosts for the DNA Show. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to rate us on your streaming platform. This episode was recorded at Manic Pod Studios. Your executive producers are Ankita Dwivedi and Jayashri Pisharadi, and your sound engineers are Rohit Das and Manak Chakraborty. The production for this podcast was coordinated by Arnav Dogra. Stay tuned in for more exciting content.